Kuyate Kingdom Shira Lawyer in Heels. We're talking today about death do us part in this series, and this is going to break down the 5 things I want every couple to make sure they address with each other. I know, I'm married. I don't want to think about death myself, but we have to. And it's our responsibility as parents to make sure that we have our stuff lined up. So if you do nothing else, I want you to do these 5 things for yourselves, for your family this month, okay? All right, let's go. The first thing I want you to do is to have powers of attorney ready for each of you. Yes, unless you are on the business account, the bank accounts, and all the accounts you want to get into, if something happens to you or just either you die or you're sick, your spouse can't necessarily be making financial decisions on your behalf. It doesn't work like that. They have to be on the account. So in order to keep life going, in the event that you're COVID quarantine, hit by a car, or God forbid, something worse, make sure you have power of attorney letters on each other's behalf. Very, very important. All right, the second thing I want you to do is keep your estate plan up to date. If you don't have an estate plan, let's talk. But if you do, and I'm talking to those of you that have drawn one up over 10 years ago and you think you're fine, I want you to really think about it. If you didn't put gas in your car and you didn't rotate the tires and you didn't do certain mechanical things, would you be comfortable taking your family on a cross-country trip in that car? Probably not. So the same is for your estate plan. You have to keep it up to date. You have life. Life brings chaos, change, and who knows what. So you want to make sure it is up to date, and you want to make sure that it's going to work and go across the country, right, like that car, when you want it to. So things that will trigger automatically, if any of these have happened, you got to redo or update your estate plan, all right? New kids, obviously new wife or husband, right? But what about your beneficiaries? What about your trustees or your executors? Have those changed? Have the guardians that you named maybe before when your children were 1 and 2 and now they're 10 and 12, or maybe that's changed, right? Maybe when you did your plan, your children were in grammar school and now they're in college, right? Maybe that's changed. Mental health, substance abuse issues within the family, all important things to consider, making sure that you protect your loved one, but also your estate in those situations. What about your kids that are now on their own and they're doing phenomenally great? Do you understand the tax implications that an inheritance within their tax bracket could have for them? So that's one thing that may want to be looked at by your family, right? How about selling or refinancing your home or starting a new business? All things that would trigger getting your estate plan looked at. All right? So keep it up to date, make sure it's running, make sure it's working, and it's going to work for you. Okay, number 3, plan ahead for your children. And by that I mean you need to plan ahead that your children have a proper legal guardian to act and take care of them should something happen to you. And I mean this in a short-term realm, but also in a long-term realm. And besides naming them, I want you to really think about, would they be equipped, right, financially, to take care of my children? If I were to go, or me and my husband were to go, would they have funds? Would they even be able to financially take care of my child and give them the life that I would have hoped that they had, as close to possible as me? And while nothing can replace you, you can equip that guardian financially to make sure that they're able to take care of your child as best that they could. You don't want them struggling. Think about the things that they're gonna have to incur. Daycare costs, health insurance, more food, more clothes, right? Maybe they already have kids, maybe housing, right, etc. All of those things. So really sit down and plan that one out. Number 4, think about each other's end of life decisions, right? And seriously, maybe it's a day where you remember those vows in sickness and in death, right? In sickness and in illness, right? We need to know what each other would have wanted, right? Do we want things like resuscitation? Do we want to be hooked up to machines? Organ donation? Where do we want to be buried? Do we want any kind of religious service? Who would we want notified? What would we want an end of life celebration or burial to look like? What is important and who's important to be there, right? So all of those things, very, very important to talk about so that you're not left guessing. And that verse that you swore to each other when you got married, you can honor it until the end, all right? And number 5, lastly, make sure your spouse knows what's in your estate. And by that, I mean the assets and the liabilities, right? What do you owe and what do you have? So many couples, one of them is in charge of being the financial manager for the family. But does your spouse know what that looks like? Do they have passwords? Do they know what needs to be paid? Do they know when does it need to be paid? Do they know what all of your assets are and how to access them? Different bank accounts, retirement accounts, life insurance policies, right? All of that stuff, would they know how to access it? Very, very important. And so these are 5 things that I want every couple to sit down at some point and make sure that they've talked about so that they can be well prepared and not hit by the surprise of catastrophe on top of grief. That's my hope. I hope this has helped. God bless you guys. I hope you never have to watch this video and say, dang it, I wish I would have done that. My hope is that you remember and say, I'm glad she told me. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I pre-planned. And now it's not going to hit me so hard. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Enjoy your day. God bless you all. Thanks for subscribing. Bye.